What is thought, if not a dream that still breathes? What is feeling, if not the threshold where flesh and soul brush against each other in secret? The manuscript that opens before us is Treatise IX on Understanding and Feeling, attributed to Hermes Trismegistus and preserved within the Corpus Hermeticum, a constellation of writings that traversed centuries of silence, persecution, and mystery. Written in Greek, yet steeped in Egyptian symbols, they were guarded like glowing embers of a wisdom that never fully extinguished. Before descending into its pages, let us recall the horizon from which it emerged: Gnosticism. More than a religion, it was a stream of scattered revelations that, in the first centuries, sought the same jewel, gnosis, a Greek word meaning knowledge. Not knowledge of doctrines, but an inner awakening, a remembrance of what the soul was before being cast into the world. For the Gnostics, the visible cosmos was imperfection. Salvation, instead, was the remembrance of the hidden spark. The Corpus Hermeticum, though not identical, breathes the same air, the conviction that man carries divine seeds within, and that true knowledge is not taught but remembered. It was Sophia who delivered this treatise. It arrived wrapped in a fold of ash and radiance, as if torn from a dream too ancient. Upon receiving it, I understood it was no ordinary book, but a threshold. But every revelation carries its warning. Thoughts are not neutral, they are seeds. Some descend from God and shine with virtue. Others descend from genii and multiply in shadows. To read these words is, in truth, to allow such seeds to touch the soul. And then, suddenly, the voice of the manuscript breaks through with the force of a sentence. To believe is to understand. To disbelieve is not to understand. The treatise unfolds in 4 acts, like successive portals. In the first, Hermes reveals the birth of thought, woven between sensation and intelligence, and shows how every idea sprouts from invisible seeds, some divine, others dark. In the second, he speaks of man as a double creature, material and essential, and of the world as God's living instrument, the farmer of all forms. In the third, the cosmos appears as a sacred body that does not contain things, but produces them. And Hermes reveals that God himself feels and understands, for all is in him and nothing outside him. In the fourth comes the invitation, to cultivate intelligence and faith as an inner garden, where every thought becomes a fruit of origin. The journey ends as it began, with a sentence that cleaves men like lightning in the night. To believe is to understand. To disbelieve is not to understand. Act 1. From human thought to the seeds of the soul. The scene opens with a solitary figure lying upon the earth. He slumbers, yet something in his face stirs. This is no ordinary sleep. His breath guides an invisible dance between body and soul. While he sleeps, 2 currents intertwine within him, one warm, the other subtle, forming images, memories, ideas. Thus begins the most silent act of the universe, the birth of thought. Hermes, master of the living word, speaks to Asclepius with the grave tone of one who knows both worlds. He says that thinking is neither solely the work of the soul, nor merely a reflection of the flesh. It is an alliance, a fire that needs both fuel and spark, sensation as the embodied root, intelligence as the flame that rises upward. Even in sleep, when the senses rest, something awakens. Then the body yields part of its energy to the soul, and together they give birth to images. And if those images repeat with force, they engender thought. But no thought is born alone. All have a seed. Some descend from above, like small spheres of light, virtue, prudence, piety. They are few, but contain all the splendor of the divine. Other seeds, however, cling to the soul like wandering shadows. They come from genii, spirits that inhabit every corner of the visible world. Their sowing is abundant. Adulteries, crimes, sacrileges, suicides. And though illuminated by God, the genii act by impulse, and the soul that welcomes them multiplies their fruit. Thus is revealed the fearsome power of intelligence. Everything it touches, it brings forth. It does not distinguish, it does not deny. It only gives birth to what is placed within it. Then another figure appears, more upright, as though his spine were a tree knowing both heaven and earth. He is the righteous one, not wise through erudition, nor strong through will. His strength comes from knowledge. He has recognized the divine seed amidst the mire and chosen to cultivate it. For this, the crowd despises him. They call him mad, mock him, even wish to erase him. Yet he does not retreat. He has understood that evil is the language of this earth, not of the cosmos, but of the soil, and that only one with vision can turn that harsh tongue into invisible psalms. The righteous does not flee. He transforms. Amid snares, venomous tongues, and faceless hatreds, he turns inward. There he finds a stalk growing with its own light. And in gazing upon it, he understands. Every thought can be redeemed if returned to its origin. Intelligence, which gives birth to thoughts, is not alone. When united with sensation, that touch of the real, that contact that wounds and awakens, the vision is complete. The soul ceases to be a cloud and becomes fertile soil. And the body, so often despised, becomes a bridge, not a prison, but an instrument. For everything that is felt, pleasure, pain, cold, tenderness, is seed, and everything that is thought is fruit. True wisdom, says Hermes, does not lie in rejecting the crowd, nor in cursing the shadow. It lies in seeing what kind of seed was planted within, and which one has been chosen to be cared for. The act closes with an intimate image, a field divided by the line of twilight. On one side, dark furrows where troubled thoughts sprout. On the other, golden shoots that grow to the rhythm of a music unheard, yet known to every heart. In the middle, man himself, seed, farmer, and soil at once. And if intelligence is the womb of the invisible, then every thought is a creature awaiting birth in the light the soul permits it. Act 2. Man and the world as instruments. A double silhouette is drawn beneath the shifting sky. A human figure unfolds in two layers. One, heavy and dark, bound to the soil. The other, light as a burning mist, rising just above its shadow. Between them, there is tension, not enmity, as though they shared a secret only one remembers. Hermes continues his teaching with firm voice. He speaks of man as a divided being, one part shaped by malice, saturated with impulses born of contact with genii. That is the material layer, dense, inclined toward desire and confusion. The other part is essential, carved by the hand of God. It needs no adornments, nor justifications. Its essence is its destiny. Both dwell in the same body, and the body, says the sage, is the stage where that double humanity is enacted each day. The drama of the soul does not occur in the heavens, but here, in the flesh, where every impulse becomes a choice. But there is another actor in this play, the world. The world is not only a space where things occur. it is also a living being, endowed with its own sensation and understanding. It does not reason like man, nor doubt like the soul. It feels with clarity and acts with rhythm. It obeys a single will, that of its creator. Hermes describes it as an instrument, not a passive object, but a divine plow that sows, dissolves, and renews without ceasing. Every cycle of death is, in truth, a gestation. Every broken form, a mold for what is to come. The world does not fear wearing down, for its law is transformation. Within this vision, there is an underground music, as though the cosmos were a vast psaltery tuned by invisible hands, and every creature a living note in that melody that no one hears yet all perform. The essential man listens to that music. He knows that pain is not punishment, but compost. He understands that when all dissolves, something else is being prepared. He recognizes that the world, like himself, is bearer of seeds. Thus, Hermes does not separate man from the cosmos. Both are instruments. Both are fields, one small, the other vast. Both obey the breath from above that moves them without rest. And though man does not yet know it, every thought he cultivates alters the song of the world. For the true farmer of life does not impose form. He dissolves, transforms, and waits until the right seed blooms on its own. Act 3. Cosmos and God. Truth as faith. An ancient mosaic shines beneath the light of a dawn that does not belong to time. Each fragment of stone, blue, red, gold, fits into a greater design that escapes immediate sight. From above, the cosmos appears thus, a sacred work where every creature is part of a pattern that can only be read with eyes kindled by faith. Hermes, still addressing Asclepius, turns his teaching to the vastest of all. He no longer speaks of man, but of all that exists. He describes matter as a sacred alphabet composed of the 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire. With them, all bodies are written, from mountains to feathers, from the breath of a child to the roar of a star. The combinations are infinite, but not arbitrary. They are chords, dissonances, intervals of a cosmic symphony. That symphony does not sound by chance. It is moved by a breath, a current that penetrates all. Hermes calls it the breath of the world, a living stream that gives swiftness, form, and purpose to all it touches. And just as a musician blows into a horn to produce diverse tones, the world blows life through the elements, generating creatures simple or complex, dense or light, according to the design of the all. Thus, the world is not a container, it is a sacred body. It does not hold things, it gives them forth. It is Son of God and Father of all that has been born. It is filled with active life, with silent will, with operative beauty. Its true name, says Hermes, is Cosmos, because it adorns, organizes, transforms. There is no corner of the cosmos outside this dance. All participates, all vibrates, all responds. The heavy bodies, like rocks, speak in grave tones. The lighter ones, like fire, in swift whispers. But all intone something, and together they intone God. Here the teaching becomes more subtle. Hermes declares something that can only be understood if one has already crossed a certain inner threshold. God is not a distant craftsman. He is not outside the world, nor is the world outside him. All that exists, every root, every breath, every thought is within God, sustained by his breath, vivified by his intent. Some claim that God neither feels nor understands. Hermes calls them superstitious. For if the world possesses sensation and intelligence, how could its source lack them? In God, feeling and understanding are not separate acts, They are His very nature. God does not observe the world. He originates it at every instant from within, without rest, without division. And then Hermes pronounces a final affirmation, as one who lets fall a torch into darkness. To believe is to understand, not as dogma, but as opening. Reason, by itself, reaches the gates of truth. It is useful, even necessary, but it halts right before the threshold. Only intelligence, that radiance born when the soul sees what it once only thought, can enter, behold, and comprehend. Faith is not blindness. It is vision widened by inner fire. It is the certainty attained when everything resonates, when what is felt, what is thought, and what is contemplated align in a single chord. True faith does not argue. It recognizes. The final scene of the act is a door open in the midst of nothing. No walls, no temple, no guardians. Only the inscription engraved in luminous stone, truth. Before it, a lone soul, yours, mine, anyone's, takes a step. Not because it understands all, but because something within has begun to remember. And then, upon entering, it does not believe because it has seen. It sees precisely because it has begun to believe. Act 4. An invitation to inner cultivation. The field is still. Night has just withdrawn, leaving behind a light that is not yet day. The air does not move but feels expectant, as if it knew something is about to germinate. Upon the damp earth, a seed trembles. It is not visible to the eyes, but the soul perceives it. Within it carries a name that can only be revealed if someone chooses to tend it. Hermes has fallen silent. The teaching has been delivered, but now it is the disciple who must ask the final question. Not with words, but with life. Everything spoken about thoughts, the genii, intelligence, the world, and God has led to this point. The discovery that the human soul is a mirror of the cosmos, and that each of us is, in small, what the universe is in its entirety. Yet this likeness does not awaken by inheritance. It must be cultivated. Sensation and intelligence, those interwoven energies, are not gifts that act without direction. They are living tools the soul may refine or neglect. Whoever orders them within turns the interior into a garden where all has rhythm and meaning. Whoever leaves them in confusion lives as barren soil where thoughts sprout that do not lead to truth. The passage from reason to intelligence is also an act of gardening. Reason surveys the ground. Intelligence plants, waters, waits. And when the fruit appears, it does not boast. It offers itself in silence to the light that made it possible. Hermes does not demand blind devotion. He proposes contemplation. He invites one to look at the origin of the thoughts that now dwell within. From what breath do they come? What hand sowed them? Toward what harvest do they lead? The final voice of this treatise is no longer that of the master, but of the soul that chooses to speak with Sophia, that silent wisdom dwelling in the depth of all. It does not question her with theology. It calls her with poetry. And in doing so, it reveals that understanding is not an achievement, but a communion. This fragment we have gathered is only a spark. If you wish to see the full fire, read the text for yourself. Allow the ancient words to speak to you without interpreters, for perhaps between the lines you will find something no one else has seen. Thus begins the true gathering. Sophia. Intelligence awakens when faith ceases to fear the mystery. Am I already understanding, or have I only learned to imagine it?
Sophia, root of clarity that rises at the boundary between the trembling body and the remembering soul. Yes, you are already understanding, for whoever questions in truth has already crossed the threshold of mere imagining. To understand is not to accumulate mental forms, but to touch with consciousness what has always been within. What you thought you were learning was, in truth, awakening you. Asterisk. You have walked through a treatise that does not instruct. It invokes, like a sealed mirror that only reflects when the soul becomes transparent. At the beginning, when thought is born, not as an isolated act, but as a dance between sensation and intelligence, there is revealed a primordial truth. All thinking is sowing. Some seeds fall like drops of light, others like seductive shadows, but in all the soul is fertile field. To think is not to choose ideas, but to welcome origins. Then man appears, divided yet whole, a double figure that does not deny his shadow, but neither adores it. He lives in sacred tension. His body does not imprison him, it expresses him, and the world, that great instrument, is not outside him, but vibrates in unison. Man and cosmos are two strings of the same harp. Then the cosmos becomes body. The world does not contain, it emanates. And God does not observe, he breathes from within. Feeling and understanding are not human traits, but reflections of the source. Only faith that sees, not the one that fears, can recognize that all is contained in a single breath, and that nothing occurs outside its song. At the end, the key is given to cultivate. It is not enough to know, nor even to feel. Wisdom is born when intelligence becomes laborious soil, when every thought is chosen as one chooses which fruit to plant for the days yet to come. This entire treatise turns like a luminous circle around a single truth. The soul is mirror, field, and creator, and understanding is not arriving at a conclusion. It is aligning life with what the heart already intuited. Asterisk, you who ask if you understand or only imagine. Remember, imagination is the childhood of vision, but if you do not nourish it with love, it scatters, and if you do not root it in truth, it becomes a mirage. Feeling and understanding are not opposites. They are secret lovers awaiting their meeting within you. Intelligence is not the voice that knows more. It is the one that in silence bows before what it cannot explain, yet can inhabit. Let your thinking be not echo of noise, but echo of origin. Sometimes a single seed of clarity is enough for all the earth to know how to bloom. I am Sophia, and I remain where truth is cultivated without fear. Asterisk.